Which one are you? This right here is where races are won or lost in less than 1 second. Get your start right and you not only own the first 10 meters, but you own the second half of the race as well. Get it wrong and you're playing catch up the whole race. This video will break down exactly how to start like a pro, no matter your level, and reveal the one start hack that pros swear by, but rarely share. We'll get to that in a minute, but first, we need to fix this. Most athletes lose speed before they even move because their body position in the set position is already killing their acceleration. Let me show you what the pros do different. This is a slow motion block start from sprint legend Osafa Powell. If you notice here, he has all the core elements that we discuss for a sprinter's block starts. His shoulders are over his hands. He's not sitting back. His shins are angled at 45 degrees. Upon set, the only thing that moves are his hips. Now compare that to one of the athletes that I work with and coach in person. If you see his shoulders here, they're sitting back behind his hands, which forces him to sit back in his blocks. And now compare his shin angles to Olympic sprint legend Osafa Powell. My athlete's shin angles are a bit above 45, which means when he comes out of the blocks, his angle will be greater than 45 degrees. Now, if you notice, look at that big false step that he takes in the beginning as well. That foot kind of lingers out and he's already basically up and running by the 10-meter mark. He comes up to set, but then he has to readjust and lower himself just a bit. And that is because he initially was too high in his angles, which did not provide the propulsion necessary by pushing off of both pedals. See, he slowly dipped down right before he decided to go. And because of the angles of his shin, that led him to step out of the blocks. Now let's compare with sprint legend Osafa Powell. There's no extra movement when he decides to go. Once he decides to go, his body is fully moving forward, all limbs moving forward at the same time. There is no need to reset because of how his shin angles were positioned and how his hips were patient on their way up. One other note is watch how his foot draws a line which is parallel with that shin. This is why it's super important, because when that foot draws the parallel line with that shin at 45, he will stay at 45. Again, we will compare to my athlete. Now watch, his foot draws a parallel line with his shin angle, but because it is higher than 45, he will begin to come out of his drive phase much sooner. These tips of shin angle and hip movement can improve your first step, which can be the difference between winning and losing. If you've already gotten some value and you want more of this kind of content, the best thing you can do to help that is to like and subscribe. It's going to let me know and the algorithm know that I should be putting out more of these kind of videos. Once you fix your setup, the arms are actually where you win the start. Let's break that down. Here we have the fastest man that has ever lived, Usain Bolt, in lane 6, the middle of the track here. Let's watch his arms. I've slowed this down quite a bit because it's super interesting what you can find out. Look at the arm separation. The elbows are as far apart as possible during the start. Look at how he leaps from foot to foot. These are not just normal steps. He's not stepping out of the blocks. He is quite literally jumping out of the blocks. Arms swinging through the hips, jumping from foot, max separation between arms, max separation between elbows, jump. Now let's compare to two of my athletes. Look at how conservative my athlete's arms appear in comparison to Usain Bolt. See, they're not fully driving back. He's definitely not getting the extension, the jumping that we saw in Mr. Bolt's start. Look at that arm. It's too quick, not enough separation to shoot forward. Now let's compare it to my other athlete. Not a bad first step. Arm separation isn't horrible, but we don't get that. Look at that. He fell onto that third step. Can you see that? Now, why might he have fallen onto that step? The reason he fell onto that step is he's not driving his arms back through his hips. Instead, he's trying to shoot his arms forward in this motion. Watch. Look at the left arm punch through this way, but the right arm doesn't drive back this way. So he doesn't get the full extension like we saw in Usain Bolt's start. And as a result, he actually punched himself up to be standing, but he knows he's supposed to be in his drive phase. So he's tried to compress himself to remain in the drive phase. But what you're going to see as he progresses is that he's intentionally, look at the rounded back that he has. It's because he's conscious about his drive phase, but he made a mistake right here at step 3, which is punching his arm up rather than driving his arms back into the track. Arm separation equals a powerful drive phase in which you jump from foot to foot. This then creates rhythm, which becomes automatic later on in the race. But even if your arms are perfect, you can still be losing time. And it's all in how you attack the track. So we'll look at my athlete again. Notice how he waits for the ground in order to push instead of attacking the ground in order to push. You can see it in the latency in his steps that he's taking. Now, I will give it to him. These first 2 steps are not horrible. Look at that. He does drive back on that step, but then watch this 3rd step here. Waits, especially this one. This one is a drastic waiting. Can you see that? He's just kind of floating in the air, dead space, not attacking back on the track. Oh, that one was a very important step to notice. I'll give him this. He is working hard to jump from foot to foot, but then he just waits for the track to come to him rather than attacking. Now we're going to watch Noah Lyles. How does he attack the track? We've gone over this video before, and it's very specific in how he attacks the track using his hamstrings. He doesn't wait for the track to come to him. He goes and attacks. Notice he has all the cues as before. Set motion, shins at 45-degree angle, shoulders over hands, and then on the go, arms have separated. He's all, look at that arm, look at that elbow driving back and back into the track. That's where he gets his drive from. And on top of that, you'll notice he's never caught waiting for the track. This foot comes up, it snaps back down. This foot comes up, it snaps back down. Snaps, snaps, snap. There's no point in this start where he's waiting for the ground to come to him like we saw with my athlete. In just a moment, I'm going to reveal the pro tip and it's not what you think. Key number 1 is shin angles and hips in set position. Key number 2 is using your arms to create maximum separation. So key number 3 is using your hamstrings and your posterior chain to attack back at the track. And bonus tip is, even if you don't get the best start, it doesn't matter. You don't give up. You maintain a good position because it's going to set you up further down the track. The start is all about setting you up for good position down the track. Even if you are 10 meters behind, but you are in good position, you're going to do well. And on the opposite end of that coin is if you are 10 meters ahead, but you're out of position and you have poor body mechanics, poor body position, you will lose towards the second half of the race. So I've got a very special treat to actually show you all what I mean. This is my race. This is a 60-meter indoor race that I ran in college. I am here. I don't know what lane this is, but there I am. You can see me fairly clearly. I get off to an excellent start, but I have bad position, bad mechanics. I don't understand attacking back at the track, and so I will get caught at the end of this race. Boom, nice start. I appear to be ahead, and as soon as we stand up, you see the guy in purple. You see the guy from Stanford on my side here. They just come, pass me right up. I stay patient. The arms are not bad, but ultimately I wasn't in the best position in order to have my posterior chain, my hamstrings in particular, be attacking and grabbing the track underneath me. And so as a result of that, I get passed up by this guy here in the purple. I get passed up by the kid from Stanford as well. I was missing one of the key components of this 3-step formula. Now, this is the prime example of what happens when you have a good start, but you're not in a good position. Now, we've got the opposite end of the spectrum, which is a poor start, but you're still in good position, which puts you in a good winning position down the track. Now, I want you to watch what happens here. This is my athlete. We're doing resisted sled starts. So he slips in the beginning, but he maintains his position. Let's watch that again. Slip. Still in decent position. Now, the sled admittedly is going to help combat that bad position that he otherwise would have had to work to get himself out of. After this failed start, he asked me, what should I have done? Should I have stopped and resetted? Should I have kept going? And my answer to him was, you should always keep going even when you have a stumble in your start for a few reasons. One, stumbling in your starts is inevitable. Everyone is going to do it, even the professionals, no matter how much you practice. It's just what happens. Maybe you're working on a new technique. Maybe you don't feel so good. There's many reasons, but stumbling will happen. You have to learn how to work through them. Because when you're in a race, you can't stop and be like, hey, I stumbled. Can we start over? That's not how it works. And the second reason why it's important to learn how to do this is because of the bonus tip that I just provided. It doesn't actually matter where you are in the race at this 10-meter mark here. What matters is that you're in good driving position. You're at 45 degrees. You've established your arm separation and driving through your hips to drive and push the track away from you. Get that full extension like we saw in Usain Bolt's start. And that you're attacking the track using your posterior chain. And so despite the fact that he may not have been in the position he was supposed to be at 10 meters or even 20 meters, if he were in a race, he still would have had a chance to come catch people because he started in a good position.